after Kendrick dropped Not Like Us, something shifted behind the scenes. And Wack 100 just pulled the curtain back. According to him, Drake got personally warned by Peru affiliates in LA for taking things too far with Kendrick Lamar. And that's when everything changed. No more subs, no more tough talk. Just a quiet U-turn from one of the most calculated rappers in the game. So why did Drake back off like that? Well, as it turns out, K-Dot got backed by Peru members, and Wack is here to tell us all about it. When Drake and Kendrick started going back and forth, the internet thought this was just another rap beef. But what Wack 100 revealed proved it was way deeper than bars. According to him, Drake didn't just lose the lyrical battle. He got a warning from the streets. Wack didn't hold back when he said Kendrick is off limits. Not because he's some gang leader, but because the Peru community made it known. Kendrick is one of theirs. He's not active in the streets, but he grew up in the Peru section of Compton, and that bloodline loyalty runs deeper than industry politics. Is Kendrick out here gangbanging? Of course not, but they're going to protect Kendrick at all costs. In a Vlad TV interview, Wack spilled the beans on where Kendrick grew up, and the ties he's got go a long way. He's got people watching his back pretty much 24/7. That's just how it goes.
The crazy part about it is Kendrick really grew up in a rough neighborhood.
Yeah.
Protective neighborhood, but a rough neighborhood.
Yeah.
This here is the part that flipped everything on its head. Kendrick didn't call in favors. He didn't need security to step in. The streets, specifically the West Side Peru and other Compton sets, closed ranks on their own. To them, this wasn't about rap beef. This was about respect. And when you're someone who's walked those blocks, grown up with those people, and kept it solid your whole life, they step up whether you ask or not. Wack made it clear. Kendrick moves like a civilian, but he's still got coverage like a general. And once the Peru names started surfacing in connection to this beef, Drake's whole demeanor changed. Before this, Drake was loud. AI diss tracks, sneak disses on IG, petty captions, subliminal bars flying everywhere. But right after Kendrick dropped his nuke and the street whispers got louder, Drake went ghost. Fans started noticing quick. 1 minute, Drake was trying to sun Kendrick. Next minute, he was pulling tracks and letting Kendrick's diss break Billboard. The same man who usually turns beef into content completely backed off. So now the question is, what was said behind the scenes that made Drake pump the brakes? What kind of message got delivered that even someone as calculated and ego-heavy as Drake decided it wasn't worth it? And most importantly, why are the streets riding this hard for Kendrick, an artist who's never once waved a gang flag? Something about this protection doesn't come from fame. It comes from a different type of power, the kind Drake wishes he had, but can't buy, fake, or flex into existence. Wack said that the gang members love Kendrick out of respect. That's what makes him different in comparison to Drake.
Ain't nobody telling him to be from the hood, but they see something in him, so they love him like they love their homies.
That's
Kendrick.
Kendrick?
Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? He grew up in West Side Power Rule Hood. That's the biggest Power Rule Hood we have out here, one of the originators.
Born and bred in Compton, right in the middle of West Side Peru territory, specifically the Tams neighborhood, Kendrick was surrounded by that gang life. And even though he never jumped off the porch as a gangbanger, the code, the mentality, the vibe, he absorbed all that. He's a good kid, yeah, but he ain't soft. And anybody who heard MAAD City or The Art of Peer Pressure already knows he's been around the wolves and came out a lion. Now here's where it gets real. In hoods like Compton, your reputation ain't just about what you do, it's about how you move. Kendrick never had to fake tough or act out for street cred. He stayed solid, respectful, and that got him love from the people who matter, the OGs, the ones who don't say much but make the real decisions. So when this Drake smoke started floating through the airwaves, the streets didn't even wait for a call. They automatically stepped in like, yo, we got Kenny. That's community. That's legacy. That's Compton moving like a unit. And don't forget, Kendrick ain't riding solo. His squad is official. TDE ain't no industry gimmick. That's a real family with deep street roots. J-Rock, he's tied in with the Bounty Hunter Bloods. And Top Dog is someone who grew up in the trenches and built a label with his own blueprint. These dudes are respected far beyond the studio. So Kendrick ain't just protected by nostalgia. He's surrounded by real ones who've earned their stripes. So when the rap world turned into a battlefield and Drake came knocking, Kendrick didn't have to lift a finger. The block responded for him. Not because he paid for muscle, not because he begged for backup, but because Kendrick has always repped Compton in a way that honors it. No fake gangster cosplays, just real pain, real pride, and real storytelling. And all that makes you wonder. With Kendrick backed by real-life credibility, deep-set loyalty, and a squad that moves in silence but speaks loud in presence, why would Drake even take that risk? Why try to pull a lion's tail in his own jungle? Something doesn't add up. Or maybe Drake just didn't know who he was really dealing with. Let's start with his street cred. First, it's no secret that Drake got gang ties, or at least claims to. From mob ties to flexing that OVO muscle with goons on standby, Drizzy's been dancing on the edge of street life like it's part of his brand. And the thing is, he don't just hint at it. He rubs elbows with real ones like YG, who's reppin' LA and has deep ties to the Bloods, or Jay Prince, the Rap-A-Lot boss and Southern OG, whose name rings bells in every major hip-hop city. With those affiliations, Drake doesn't gotta throw a punch. He got shooters on call. At least that's how he wants it to look. And that gangsta image, Drake's been building it for years. You got dudes straight up calling him father, labeling themselves as his goons, and even saying they're scared of him, not because he's a fighter, but because of the power and reach he wields. But here's where the story gets sticky. For someone who moves like a mob boss, Drake been caught in some very non-gangsta moments, like that time he jacked Dram and got his goons involved. Dram had a cute lil bop with Cha-Cha, and right after, Drake dropped Hotline Bling, originally titled Cha-Cha Remix. He flipped the vibe, dropped the name, and started pushing it like it was his own baby. Dram tried to play it cool in public, but later came clean. He felt played. Years later, Dram pressed Drake at Coachella. Instead of Drake handling it like a man, his bodyguards beat down Dram, and it was over before it even started. Drake didn't throw a single punch. That's the playbook. Let the muscle handle it, and keep your hands clean. Strategic? Sure. Gangsta? Not really. Dram said talked about it himself.
Went to town on the kid. But his bodyguards in, not his ass. He ain't touched me. He's a you know that.
Now let's rewind to some of Drake's most questionable street moments. Remember when T.I.'s crew supposedly peed on him in a theater? Or when Diddy slapped him backstage and Jay-Z had to break it up? If this happened to literally any other rapper, the internet would have cooked them forever. But somehow, Drake glided through. Now here's where it really gets murky. Drake's tight relationship with Ian Connor, a stylist known for fashion and disturbing allegations, raised a few eyebrows. Ian helped bring Playboy Carti into Drake's orbit, even got him on the track Pain, 1993. Drake showed love back, name-dropped Ian in his verse, even threw money with him in the strip club. But things got weird when Ian suddenly posted that he had blocked Drake. Then Chubbs, Drake's right-hand man, jumped in the comments and said Ian got checked by the OVO goons, called him a little boy and everything. Keep in mind, Ian was in the Rich Flex video with 21 Savage, so if there's beef now, it's fresh. This adds another layer to Drake's rep. He rolls with dudes facing heavy allegations, and when they fall out of line, he sends his muscle in. Same playbook. Here's the core of it. Drake's street persona is like premium cosplay. He uses gang lingo, surrounds himself with street-certified figures, and lets his goons do the dirty work. But when things get real, like Kendrick exposing the cosplay in their beef or real street politics in Piru or Compton, Drake steps back, not in. This is what Kendrick was cooking in their battle. The difference between adopting the culture and actually being raised in it. Drake might talk the talk, but Kendrick walks through neighborhoods where respect ain't bought, it's earned. Now, speaking of the beef between Drake and Kendrick, we gotta be real here. Drake probably walked into this thinking it was just another lyrical sparring match. But once Kendrick dropped the mask and pulled back the curtain on that fake street costume, that's when Drake's whole energy shifted. Suddenly, the man who once barked about mob ties and had shooters on go started playing it real safe. No more talk of red flags, no more subliminals about hitters, just subtle deflections, calculated silence, and a whole lot of PR cleaning. And when the whispers started flying, talks of certain blocks in LA feeling a type of way, of the Piru camp watching closely, it's like Drake hit the brakes fast. Reality hit hard. Kendrick ain't just a rapper from Compton, he's protected. And going against him in that kind of environment is not just risky, it's reckless. Now here's the real twist. Why did Drake take that gamble in the first place? What made him think he could step to Kendrick knowing those deep roots? Was it ego, or was he just too used to winning battles on his terms, forgetting that this time he wasn't fighting alone? He was fighting a whole city's pride. After weeks of throwing jabs and flexing online, Drake did a full 180. At first, he was loud with it, dropping slick bars, tweaking his lyrics live, even using Instagram like a battleground. But the second Kendrick's Not Like Us took over the Super Bowl stage and the streets crowned Kendrick the people's champ, Drake went ghost on the beef. fast. No more subs, no more sneak disses. Instead of clapping back on Wax, Drake popped up on his album saying, F a rap beef. I'm trying to get the party lit on Gimme a Hug. That ain't a response. That's a white flag. His social media went back to the basics. Exotic trips, club nights, designer fits. Not a peep about Kendrick or the lyrical bloodbath that had the whole game tuned in. But here's the real plot twist. Drake let Not Like Us go nuclear. No countertrack, no clapback freestyle, nothing. And that's wild, considering this is the same Drake who went full war mode on Meek Mill, Pusha T, and even dudes like Joe Budden. He watched Kendrick perform that diss live at the Super Bowl, 130 million people locked in, and he just let it rock. Didn't say a word, didn't drop a thing. So what really happened here? Did Drake realize he couldn't win this one? Or did somebody behind the scenes remind him that there's rules in LA? And messing with Compton legends ain't just music, it's politics and protection. And once those West Coast OGs start circling up, you either respect the code or get pushed out the paint. When West Coast streets, and Piru in particular, started writing for Kendrick, that was a power move. Out in Cali, especially in places like Compton, when the street politics get involved in a rap beef, it's not just about bars anymore, but real-life consequences. See, on the surface it might look like music industry drama, but when certain sets show public support, especially for someone like Kendrick, that means something deeper. It's a warning, this one's protected. And even the most seasoned OGs know what time it is when certain lines get crossed. This ain't new. The West Coast has always had a long memory. Go back to the East Coast versus West Coast beef in the 90s. Things went way past Wax, and people paid the ultimate price. Even now, little things like sneak disses or shade at a club can spiral out fast if you don't watch how you move. And folks like Wack 100 has been loud about it. Even Jay Prince, who's seen it all, knows when to step back and respect the rules out west. These guys understand the unspoken laws. It's not just music, it's survival. Drake, on the other hand, he's been surrounded by street dudes for years, but there's a difference between being around it and being inside it. And once the Kendrick beef took that turn, it's like Drake realized that he ain't in Toronto. Out in Compton, one wrong move can get real ugly, real quick. OGs out west remember the dark side of beefs. They've seen rap legends get taken out behind a mic war. That's why they step in, not to cause drama, but to end it before it becomes irreversible. Cause once you say certain things out loud, there's no walking it back. Not even for a global superstar. And while Drake may have hit pause on this war, Kendrick, man, he's still outside. Still got the streets behind him. Still turning diss tracks into anthems. So if this chapter's closed for Drake, what's Kendrick about to do next? Kendrick didn't just win this battle. He flipped the whole script. While Drake was out here trying to fight fire with subliminals, Kendrick played it different. No loud threats, no extra antics, no back and forths on social, just pure execution. Every bar was sharp, every move silent but deadly. And the craziest part, he didn't even have to say much about the streets. The streets said it for him. His hometown, OGs, and West Coast legends came out heavy, making it clear Kendrick is solidified. Now contrast that with Drake. He tried to play the street card, mob ties this, tough talk that, flexing muscle behind the mic, but when the real ones spoke, all that energy vanished, like instantly. The diss tracks dried up, the IG antics stopped, and the vibe shifted back to brand deals and vacation pics. It was loud without Drake saying a word. That silence, it said everything. And look, if those whispers are true about a certain video showing Drake getting checked by some Piru OGs, if that tape ever leaks, that might just explain why Drake backed off so fast. That might have been the moment Drake realized this ain't a game no more. These dudes Kendrick got around him. They don't do social media, they do real life. So, did Drake learn his lesson? Well, if you think about this whole saga, it might have been the first time Drake actually got humbled in a rap beef. Drake's used to being the clever one, the last to respond, the one with the catchy comeback. But this time, he ran into somebody who wasn't just lyrical, but legit. Let's run through the fallout. Drake's not new to rap battles, but this one hit different. For the first time, the stakes weren't just chart positions or streaming numbers, it was credibility. And when that kind of heat comes from someone as respected as Kendrick, with the street standing behind him, that's a different level of pressure. Drake might have realized real quick that going toe-to-toe with someone who moves like Kendrick isn't worth the risk, especially when OGs start stepping in. He's always been a pro at flipping losses into lessons, though. Don't be surprised if he spins this moment into a